Welcome to Logan Rangley Therapy. Stay a while. Welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing today? I am so thankful that you guys have popped back in to continue along with this series. And if you are really enjoying what you are seeing and want to get notifications for more videos coming up, I will be continuing this series until about mid-March. So we got about 6 more weeks. Then please like and subscribe, comment down below if you would like to continue following along. After that is over, I will continue with my weekly videos on different topics. So if you have any questions or comments about that, please also comment down below topic ideas or things that you would like me to discuss. So the first week we talked about morning routines and the importance of having a routine and creating associations around our morning rituals and how that can really help us get motivated for the day and start on the right foot. The second week we talked about the importance of sleep and how sleep plays a huge role in the way we feel and our overall productivity for the day, and also helps with our mental health and the way we approach things. We are sometimes less irritable or frustrated when we've gotten enough sleep. So topic number 3 is the importance of good nutrition and exercise. I do want to state that I am not a nutritionist, and I am also I do have my certification in personal training, but there are a lot of different philosophies out there in terms of the best way to exercise. So again, I do not want this to be construed as something that I specialize in, but I do, again, want to make sure that we don't ignore things such as diet and exercise as a part of our biopsychosocial perspective. So as a therapist, it is really, really important that we don't discredit or not address what we eat and how much exercise our body gets when we're talking about things like mental health or anxiety or depression or things like that. Or ADHD, it is really, really important that we make sure we address it, because there can be a lot of things that are contributing to the way we feel that aren't just about our mental headspace, but also what we're putting into our body, the way we're moving our body or not moving our body, things like that. So I do not claim to be an expert in this topic, and I'm not going to tell you which type of diet you should be doing or which type of exercises you should be doing that I think would be helpful, but instead more just addressing that topic as a whole. So just wanted to make sure that I added that in there. And the reason I think that it's really important that I bring this topic up is because what we feed our body and how we move our body is really, really important. There are a lot of different things that can contribute to our mental health, and these two are definitely some of them. So when we talk about exercise, I believe that it is suggested that we get 30 minutes a day of exercise, of moving our body. That is the minimum we should be doing. Of course, some days we move more, some days we move less, but the importance of moving our body, there's a lot of health benefits to getting our body moving. Our bodies were made to move, and so a lot of the times currently in our society we're quite sedentary, and so we sit a lot and we don't get to move the way our bodies were created to. We develop a lot of the time back problems and neck problems and shoulder, and especially if you sit at a desk or in a chair a lot, you're kind of hunched over if you're not conscious of this sort of thing. And so it's really important that we move our body. Now that can be done in a lot of different ways. People like weight training, people like biking or hiking or walking or yoga. I don't care how you're doing it. I just want to make sure that you're moving your body. So when I get clients in my office who are talking about feeling anxious or feeling depressed, and then they report that they're not doing anything to get their body moving, we're getting not very much blood flow other than just what we do by existing, then I often will encourage them to get out and find something that they like to do. Not only is it good for our physical health, getting blood flow moving, reducing potential heart problems, getting endorphins, which makes us happy, things like that. It also can be a form of community. It can get us connected to people who enjoy doing the same things we do. We can have accountability buddies. It can get us out of our house. If we're depressed and we have a hard time getting motivated to move, like out of our bed or out of our room, having a place we need to go where we're accountable because people are waiting for us can really help with accountability and having good social supports. So there's a lot of different benefits to moving our body, and each person that will look different. But if you're not on some sort of exercise regimen, I highly recommend that you look into doing that. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and there's ways to do it properly and not as well. So make sure that you are reaching out to people in the field. So if you want to take a boxing class, go and do a boxing class, or if you want to start weightlifting, seeking out a personal trainer or finding something online, so that you're making sure that you're doing it properly and safely, but that you are getting your body moving. The other thing is nutrition. There is not one specific way that you should be eating to feel better for each person, and every body that's different. Of course, overall, we want to make sure that we're having a balance of food, of nutrition, of supplements, of everything like that. But we do want to make sure that we are paying attention to things that can contribute to mental health issues. So for instance, anxiety. Part of anxiety is the fear of something bad happening. And if you've had a panic attack before, then you know how horrible it can feel when you have a panic attack. Sometimes it feels like you're having pain in your chest. Sometimes you're super jittery and shaking and uncontrollable. Well, there are certain types of food and drinks that can simulate a very similar response to panic attacks. So we've had clients who have come into session thinking that they were having panic attacks. Come to find out they had been drinking a Red Bull or had been drinking an energy drink before coming to therapy. And when they had the caffeine, it stimulated the same response as what it felt like to have a panic attack. So then we thought they were having a panic attack, or they thought they were having a panic attack, which often will then induce a panic attack. So there's nothing against caffeine. Excuse me. There's nothing against caffeine. But it is really important to take into consideration if we are experiencing certain challenging feelings, that we are looking at what we're eating. Sugar can be a really, really good coping technique. If we have certain foods that are comfort foods that make us feel really good, that can definitely be something that is good for us. But sugar can also make us feel more lethargic, can make us feel tired. I've had clients come in here who had eaten something sugary in the morning, and they again feel just kind of like yucky and on edge. And because of that, it makes them feel how they feel when they're anxious. So I'm not saying that foods cause anxiety. I'm not saying that if you eat sugar, it will make you anxious. What I'm saying is that there can be unhealthy coping skills or things that we are doing that are not helping the anxiety we already have. If we have anxiety and we tend to get jittery and then we drink 4 cups of coffee, it might be making us more jittery, which in turn makes us feel more yucky. So just something to consider. Caffeine, sugar, things like that can play a huge role. If we are talking about things like ADHD, which impacts that same part of the brain, there's a whole entire book called, I believe it's called Healing ADD. And there's a whole chapter about nutrition and the importance of certain foods and when to eat them when we're looking at especially kiddos with ADHD. Kids especially as well. We all know what hangry looks like. I'm sure we've either experienced it or have seen someone with hanger going on. And so that is a really good representation of the food we eat, how it can impact our mood and our emotions and our behaviors. If we are low in blood sugar and haven't eaten and we're feeling irritable and cranky, then we're feeling sad because we're being irritable and cranky, and now we've just created some depressive thoughts. There is a cycle there, and it doesn't necessarily start with the fact that we haven't eaten or the food that we eat causes the problem, but it's definitely not something we should ignore or not consider. So again, as a therapist, when we do our initial intakes, we often will ask questions about, has there been a change in diet? Has there been an increase or decrease in appetite? What does your diet tend to look like? Are there things that you've noticed could be helpful or hindering the way you're feeling? We also ask about physical exercise and what regimen are you on? Are you moving your body? All of these things that are super basic that we've been taught since we were really little, but sometime along the way, with life and adulting and all of these things, we have kind of forgotten at times the importance of the natural things, that the food that our world gives us, that the ground around us can supply, these natural foods that have really healing benefits to them, and we sometimes forget about it or discredit it or don't consider it. I'm not saying that the way we change our diet is going to get rid of anxiety, but it can really improve it depending on what we're looking at. And same with exercise. So if I have someone who's anxious, I will often have them start going on walks in the morning. It's a great coping skill, a great way to clear our head. It can get us more centered and focused on the world around us, be more mindful and present, things like that. So I just wanted to make sure that I touched on this topic. I think it would be doing a disservice if I didn't address this topic in some way. But again, I'm not a specialist in this, and that is not my area of expertise. I do have my background in personal training, and that is something that I find really important, is the connection between the mind and body. And a lot of the time we feel like they're very disconnected. We either have a physical illness or we have a mental illness, but a lot of the time they can be very connected. I recently just watched a documentary. If you're interested in this topic and find it really fascinating, there's a documentary on Netflix called Heal, Heal, and it talks about the importance of mindfulness and being present, and the way that we the thoughts that we have and how they contribute to the way we behave, and that the way we behave can contribute to how we approach the world and our mental health. And it also talks about the importance of food and exercise, and how that can really contribute to our overall health. And it takes the approach of pretty severe medical conditions like cancer or heart conditions and things like that, but how there's a very huge connection between the mind and the body. And when our body is physically hurting or having issues, the mind and the power that we have with the mind can greatly increase or decrease our chances of healing. So if you're interested in it, in this topic, I highly recommend you check out the Netflix documentary, and then comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and what you thought about it, what you liked, what you didn't like. If you have anything that you want to add to this discussion, please comment and let me know. And make sure that you're moving your body, filling your body with nutritious food, whatever that looks like to you. And we will check back in next week. Next week we are going to be switching gears a little bit and talking about patterns of behavior and ways and things that we can do to make our environment feel healthier, which in turn can make our body feel better. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys soon.